Hi, I'm Aaron Dean, and this is Advocate Today. An exonerated member of the Central Park Five could win a Democratic primary for New York City Council. That's according to CNN projections. Yusef Salaam will likely take the Harlem seat after a reallocation of ranked choice voting results expanded his lead. Initially, results had him narrowly above the 50% mark needed to win. With the reallocation, his support is at nearly 64%. He was one of the 5 teenagers accused of raping a jogger in 1989 and pressured into giving false confessions. They were exonerated when DNA evidence linked another person to the crime. Meanwhile, former Democratic Representative Mondaire Jones has announced a comeback bid for Congress. He is running for New York's 17th district. That's the seat he held previously. In 2020, Jones became one of the first openly gay black men elected to Congress. He chose not to run for re-election in the 17th district. Instead, he ran for Manhattan-based 10th district, but lost in the primary. Democrats lost the 17th to Republican Representative Mike Lawler. They are looking to flip it in 2024. Delaware State Senator Sarah McBride says that she's not running to make history, she wants to make a difference. McBride is running for Delaware's at-large seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. In 2020, she became the first person to publicly identify as trans to serve as state senator. Now she says she's more motivated than ever.
You don't have to understand me for me to fight for you, because ultimately I know what it feels like to feel left behind and unseen. And I don't want any Delawarean to feel that way. That's one of the reasons why I'm so motivated to do this, because I think at this critical moment in our country, we have to answer the question whether our democracy is big enough for all of us. Diversity in government is certainly important. And in order for our democracy to work, it has to include all of us. And so I'm proud of who I am. This campaign, though, isn't just about making history. It's about making a difference on all of the issues that matter.
If elected, McBride would be the country's first out transgender member of Congress. Well, the United Methodist Church is letting more than 6,000 congregations leave since 2019 over a schism surrounding theology and the role of LGBTQ plus people. More than 4,000 churches have left this year alone. Church law forbids marriage or ordination of, quote, self-avowed practicing homosexuals. Conservative churches have left because some churches are not following that rule. Many of those congregations are now joining the new conservative Global Methodist Church. The United Methodist Church has 6.5 million members in the U.S. During the most recent Supreme Court session, justices struck down the president's student loan forgiveness plan. The court says that the Biden administration overstepped its authority in trying to cancel or reduce student loan debt. That means Americans will be responsible for repayments starting in October, but you still have options. The Institute for College Access and Success is working to radically reimagine a higher education system that serves people from all walks of life. I talked with their research director, Dr. Marshall C. Anthony Jr., about the future of student loans. But, President Biden has announced this new repayment program called SAVE. Can you explain exactly what this is? And do you feel that this is a good replacement or alternative to what we were all hoping for?
Yeah, so SAVE is the Saving on a Valuable Education Plan, and it's the administration's effort post this process called negotiated regulation that happened a couple years ago to help reform the income-driven repayment sort of plans that are out there. And so, we're happy to see that the education department is working quickly, especially at a moment like this, to implement components of the SAVE plan that will protect the lowest income borrowers in the near future. But I think it's also still important, especially considering the systemic racial disparities when it comes to student debt, that there is also still a plan, which I am glad to see that the Biden-Harris administration is making to still, champion debt relief, especially at a moment such as this.
And even with that, within your research and the work that you do you think that another effort like what Biden wanted to do before, is that possible somewhere down the pipeline, or is this kind of like what we're stuck with?
So luckily, they're exploring that opportunity. As you know, like the nuances of policy are just that. And so I am glad to see that the Biden Harris administration is looking to see what they can do within the Higher Education Act of 1965 to help ensure and to help solidify the debt relief plan. And so what we know as of now is that they will be opening up a new process of, it's called negotiated rulemaking at the department. So essentially, when it comes to legislation, if we think of a picture, anything from Congress pretty much is like the perimeter of the picture. And then they typically allow for the agencies or the executive branch to sort of color in the area of those pieces as well. And so what the administration is doing now, what they will be doing over the next couple of weeks, is figuring out if that perimeter of the Higher Education Act allows for flexibilities to still guarantee another route or another pathway to debt cancellation. And that's what we will be sort of uncovering and seeing throughout the next couple of weeks and most likely months as well.
Yeah. And looking ahead to the future with your role at the Institute for College Access and Success, how are you all going to continue to work to make sure that students have equitable, affordable, and accessible education, especially with some of the rulings that have come down?
Yeah, so the good news is, we at TKIS, this is not our first sort of like rodeo at trying to have a student loan system that is not detrimental for borrowers, and and to guarantee that students and graduates actually get a bang for their buck. So we have been working on this issue of student debt since its inception. I think the next sort of iteration and phase as we move into the next 15 years is really championing for a debt-free higher education system that doesn't leave students, especially students from marginalized backgrounds such as myself, having to rely on student debt in order to get a college education. We are now at a moment where over 2/3 of jobs require some form of post-secondary education. And so it's like imperative in many ways for the administration and for the country to help build and champion a more college educated population, not just for the individual benefits, the economic benefits that it is for the person receiving it, but there's also research that supports that a more college educated society is a society that tends to earn more, meaning paying more in taxes, meaning it's also led to increases in health outcomes. Also, it helps increases a more civically engaged society. And so a lot of times, college, especially higher education, is so framed is ill framed as only benefiting the person that is receiving it. But there's a lot of societal benefits to obtaining a post-secondary education as well.
And for our viewers who may be watching who are like, okay, you know what, save is cool and all, but I was looking forward to having that money slashed off. What is your message to them?
That's a very real concern. It's a question that I myself have undergraduate and graduate loans too. And just personally, I'm thinking about that, especially as a Black American, having, the racial wealth gap is real, with Black Americans having about 8 times less wealth than white households. And typically our paychecks are just not our paychecks. We are helping to support a community. That's just how our community have always thrived, right, as a village. And so, I would be remiss to say that I'm not nervous either, and especially as the clock to repayment is just ticking closer and closer and closer each day. What I'll say is this: I would say, one of the things that I do is try to get the information directly from the education department. So I'm on a bunch of listservs and stuff as well to just make sure that I know who my loan servicer is, that I know what my options are. The good news about Save is that for borrowers who really have the lowest of incomes, sometimes payments can literally be as low as $0, only a couple of dollars too. And so it's important to be in communication with your student loan borrower, the servicer, more so to ensure that you know what your debt is. You're at least enrolled in a plan if possible. And again, if you don't have a lot of income, your payments literally can be as low as $0.
All right. Thank you so much for that information. And we really enjoyed this conversation, Dr. Anthony. Thank you again. We hope to have you come back and spread more of your insight with our viewers again.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me, and I'll be happy to come back.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.